What's up? Meow. So we want to discuss how to use an inflection point to be able to get across a bridge, to be able to develop a sales result, to be able to develop the result of a sales result. Stay to the end. By the end of this video, this podcast, to get the full answer. To make a sale, it's also through teleportation, by the way. Stay till the end to find out. Welcome to the news. So in essence, how we're trying to develop this little journey today, it's kind of like a little safari in your mind, but we're not 1,000% sure where we're going to end up. But the whole purpose is to be able to develop a sales process in under 60 seconds. So by the end of this podcast, it'll be a little bit longer than 60 seconds, but nonetheless, it's something that you can develop the ability to be able to apply to the sale corresponding to the aspect of a sale of any given thing within 60 seconds in your mind, for example. So you can see the whole process, you can lay out the whole process, you can get the whole concept of how to go about things within 60 seconds by being able to flesh out and conceptualize the three different aspects, the three different parts to be able to make your way across the bridge, which causes a teleportation, and it causes also an inflection, first of all, and a place of inflection where it's like sort of flips the necessities like upside down or opposite from what they tend to usually be in terms of the energies, and you can we'll run through the process in essence, but within 60 seconds you can run it through to yourself to be able to change the concept for necessarily any given sales process with a foundation in place, so that in essence you're able to run through the truth of energy and truth energies through truth logics, and running through that truth energy conceptualization spectrum of differing content, which corresponds to truth, which corresponds to energy, which corresponds to truth, which corresponds to familiarity. Familiarity is the first aspect of the process in the 60-second sales of selling anything process. So to be able to sell the sale anything process, to be able to get in the mindset, to be able to get in the mindset process, you have to go into the mental safari and be able to take place in your own mind to be able to develop this familiarity concept for how to develop the truth, energetic transmission of a truth concept, which is able to read through from your own thoughts, and whether it's from writing a foundation, developing a foundation in content, developing something which corresponds to yourself as a business person, as an entrepreneur, as something that's able to add value to the other side of the bridge. The bridge is one side. The bridge starts with familiarity. Familiarity is the first side of the bridge. That's where you have to go into yourself to find the truth energy that corresponds to, in essence, the value, which corresponds to speaking in perpetuity towards the future of truth being applied into somebody's life, which is value being applied into somebody's life, and then therefore they're able to go across the bridge. And the bridge foundationally is built upon trust. The bridge, in essence, connecting demand to supply, it corresponds to trust in essence. But number 1 is familiarity, 2 is trust, and number 3 is creating a new ideation, connection, contemplation to follow through to the other side, based on understanding, based on mutual understanding, a bridge that connects to a new conceptualization that reveals a new foundational aspect of a success story on the backside. So it is a matter of developing the new ideation regarding collective success to begin with. Developing new collective success is how to be able to connect the whole process, to be able to connect the electricity, to develop a mental sales process in 1 minute. In essence, the inflection point that I was referring to, where basically things become opposite what they were on the one side of the continuum, is starting with, first of all, familiarity. Familiarity is number 1. That's the side in the present day time where you're at, to be able to start to get somebody to the other side through the essence of trust as the inflection point. It's a 3-part equation. Within 60 seconds, you can do it to try to sell anybody on anything, in essence. But familiarity comes from knowing yourself, knowing what you're trying to sell, knowing what you're familiar with, knowing what you're able to be trusted for, knowing content that you would like to make, knowing things that you would like to write about, knowing things that you can aggregate in terms of supporting your process, things like testimonials, things like friendship, ultimately things that support your cause and your case, and your ability to just develop a thorough presence, and oftentimes online internet content that supports like a personal brand, for example, is what helps build reputation, for example, to be able to just have more supportive conceptual documenting processes that help to understand a person on the first side of the bridge, which is familiarity. Familiarity is number one. That's the first side to this whole process. It's a 3-step process, basically. And the inflection point is just an energy trajectory, basically, to get to the other side of the bridge, basically. And so it's basically step 1, familiarity. Step 2, trust. Step 3 is collective new ideation regarding collective success. New ideation regarding collective success. And that is like a reformulation of a collaboration. It's like a new chemistry, basically. It comes out on the other side of the inflection point. So basically, number 1, familiarity. Number 2 is trust. Number 3 is a new ideation regarding collective success. In essence, that is the 3-step process to sell anything to anyone, in essence, by having, in essence, a process in mind to be able to bridge the gap between demand and supply. Demand and supply by knowing your market to begin with, and developing the familiarity within yourself of the value that you can offer to the other side of the bridge, which in essence is who you're selling to. That's the market that you're selling to. And so you're starting with demand, you're starting with the end result, you're starting with the new ideation regarding collective success. The new ideation regarding collective success is the first thing that you're starting from, which is demand, to be able to draw back to supply from, in essence. So just starting with the new ideation regarding collective success and working backwards to familiarity is how you're able to work backwards to be able to start to draw out the pathway to get to that new ideation regarding collective success, which equals also an understanding that a sale is the best result to mediate a given situation, to be able to develop a new foundational mindset where a certain product or a process is able to absolve a past problem or a missing gap in the market or in the equation to be able to fulfill a certain solution and get that process and that solution delivered and transported effectively and efficiently across the bridge of trust into a different dimension known as an inflection point, which changes the dynamics and the dynamism of the dynamic to begin with through an essence of collaboration that results in a new ideation regarding collective success as number 3, which is the end result. And then we're working backwards. We're starting with demand and we're working backwards to supply, which is number 1, basically going back through trust, back across the bridge of the equal signs, backing back across the bridge of the equal signs, and ending at familiarity. And so familiarity is number 1 as we try to basically bridge the gap. Bridge the gap, and that's how it's built. It's starting from number 3 and going back to number 1 to be able to build it out in your mind and your mindset, and then basically taking off from number 1 to be able to get back to number 3 collectively with the person you're trying to collaborate with, and in essence, therefore, make a sale to them by absolving their problems, and then therefore also collaborating with the people that you're trying to sell to. That's all for now. Thanks again. Bye, Ding Tech. Bye, peace, bye.